All right, guys, 9 o'clock, almost 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. Time to go rake some hay. Got the helper here today. Did you have fun at your party last night? That's what I thought. All right, let's go down the road, get some hay raked up, and see where the day goes. I'm hoping we might be able to bail today. Got a good breeze. The dew's already burned off. Maybe could have started earlier, but well, here we are. So. Section of this 9-acre field. This field seems to be dragging on a little bit, but as we get through it, it looks like way nicer hay than I was expecting. For how late we mowed this stuff honestly looks pretty decent. I'm gonna get out and check it again here before I leave. Obviously, I got to put the curtain back in, so I'll be out of the cab anyhow for that. Then I'll check some stuff, see how it feels then. It was very tough this morning. I don't know. Hopefully, it's not too tough to have been raking, and I'm not screwing myself right now. I mean, I drove all the way here. I wasn't gonna turn around. Unless it was just sopping wet, but you know, I do moisture can be deceiving sometimes. I think we're all right. I see some leaves coming off. I guess we'll find out. Worst case scenario, it takes a day longer to dry down, I guess. Which could set back this, and that. But oh well. Yeah, we'll be wrapping up here pretty shortly in this field. This field's always historically just been a very, very, very poor performer for us, field-wise. Really hard ground. This is probably the best I've seen it, and we're raking doubles. So if that says anything about the tonnage that we expect off of this field, the expectations are set very low. We're talking first cut being just over a ton an acre on normal years, while other fields might be doing 2 tons, 2.5 tons an acre first cutting. I think last year's second cut on this field did better than first. I don't know. But last year was the first full year on this stand. The year prior was a spring seeded, new seeding. So last year we got 3 cuts off it. The year prior was first cut with the oats, and we planted this with the nurse crop of oats. And then the second cut, the oats came back, and it was okay looking hay. And then last year we got 3 cuttings. Second cut out yielded first. And I don't know. This year there might actually be 70 bale an acre out here. It's hard to say. I don't know. I doubt there's 700 bale here, but there might be 6. I think last year we did like 450 bales on first cutting on 9 acres. It's just abysmal. Like we got to stand here. The population's there. It just doesn't perform on this. And granted, I haven't done the soil test and all that. Maybe I should. But being this far away and only 9 acres and hard ground, I didn't have long-term leases on it. It's like, well, do I want to go put line down and all this just to possibly lose it all and just help the next guy for it? I think we got this kind of locked in for some longer stuff. I mean, it's still year to year, but it's one of those. You can put hundreds of dollars into it and see if, maybe you get a little bit more back for your money, or you can just get what you get off it and be good. You also got to have the same amount of time in the seat to mow down thin hay as you do thick hay. Same goes for raking and about everything else except baling. So I mean, there's something to that. So oh well, it's nice things. So we'll take what we can get here, especially here like this where first cut was short. Who knows what the next 3 cuttings are? I have not really started on the second cut, but from what I can tell, we're in for some pretty good stuff yield wise at home. Some of the other second cut I'm seeing, it's kind of all over the board. On some other people's ground, obviously I'm just now finishing first, so I don't have a lot of second cut of my own to speak of, but I'm just trying to look at other fields in the area. Some seems to be really good, some, I wouldn't say bad, but definitely not outstanding. So who knows? Hay markets are kind of a thing that just dip real hard all summer every year, and then they come back around in the winter, especially when you have a drought like we did last year, and I hope we don't have another drought this year, but we have enough acres to kind of keep the barn full, regardless of drought conditions. So I think we'll be sitting good kind of no matter what happens. Wow, those windrows look really nice. And this hay for almost July made first cutting alfalfa looks really nice. It's still very tough. It might go today, it might not. We got clover to rake, so I'm not gonna fret over it. We got a baler to grease, hook up, wagons to look over. But shoot, this almost makes me want a small square bale. Almost, I don't know. That's in the back of my mind now. Gotta put the curtain in. Well, time to drive through town again. Sunday morning, so it's pretty quiet today. Seems to fit in the lane pretty well. If not, screw them. I got work to do, and I'm not taking an extra 3 miles to appease one person, so. I used to be a pretty courteous person on the roads. Not to say I'm not now. I get over for folks and everything. But, man, some people push that patience to the limit. And I'm just at the point where I'm going to do whatever's best for me and my operation. And I'm not going to, do something crazy, run people off the road or hold up traffic for an hour. But, man, some people just trying to pass you. Like, I used to mow roadsides for the township I worked at. And we had a lot of highways, and I'd have to take to get to some of these township roads I'd be on. And I'd have my tire on the white line, and there'd still be 4 feet onto the left of me before the center line, and I'd have people using 2 to 3 feet of that 4 feet open. I mean, no more than a couple feet between me and that vehicle. They'd be passing me at 60 miles an hour, and I'm going 18. Just absolutely reckless behavior on the highway. It's ridiculous. And they could have just gotten all the way over in the other lane, or just waited a little bit. The amount of almost head-on collisions I've seen, I just got to the point where I'm no longer getting over. I have this lane. I know a lot of people have said this, and I agree to it with them now. I have every right to use the lane that I'm in. Not to say I'm trying to run over the center line and run people off the road. And that mower is a whole other story. If I have a couple cars behind me, sometimes even one car behind me for more than a half mile, and I see a good place to pull off, I'll let them around. Don't get me wrong, but times like this, there's a curb I can't really get over. But even if there wasn't, I wouldn't be riding the berm. I got this lane, I'm going to use it, because the minute you give people an inch, they try to take a mile, and they'll run you off the road. They'll put themselves in a situation they shouldn't be in, because people are just reckless, careless, trying to save an extra 20 seconds on their commute. And I just don't get it. It's just crazy. And obviously we do a lot of stuff around town at times, because both the fields I'm raking today are both on state highways, Route 66 and Highway 281. So, there's traffic on it. I used to work for some farmers on Route 6 too, and so not too unfamiliar with a lot of that. And I hate how much road travel we have, but it's about the only way we're going to be able to keep growing this and picking up the acres. So it's just a necessary evil, and you just do what you can to keep making things happen. So here we are. A beautiful muddy Maumee scenic river, I guess. I've gone tubing on it once before. It's definitely not clean, but shoot, a lot of people have fun on it. I get some nice looking first cut clover. It's raking up good. I hope we're not too early getting on this raking, and maybe hopefully not raking too much together, especially if we're too early. There's a nice sized windrows. If they were good and dry, I'd love that, but there could be some lingering moisture. I hope we don't get screwed on this. We'll see. I'm sure we can dry eventually. Alright folks, just got to finish this row. Then we come back down that and do our north headland there. And this 20 acres of clover will be raked up, and we'll get out and take a look at it. I'm seeing a lot more dust now, and a little more leaf shatter. Which, you don't want to see leaf shatter, but it's a good thing to see when you're questionable on moisture. So we'll get out. I'm hoping this stuff could go today, so we can at least get started on it. But I guess we'll find out. Oh, that's a nice looking field of raked up hay. I always liked raking. This stuff looks pretty green. I don't want to touch that. That's thistle, but that's still pretty tough, especially right there. We got the whole crown. Let's go over here. Looks like nice hay, but I'm gonna be very shocked. You got a little rattle to it, but it's just so tough. Get that little green there. If it goes today, it's gonna be a long shot, so it means I have time to eat some lunch maybe when I get home. You see lots of leaf. Clover always gets that dark color when it dries, just like that. So the hay doesn't look very pretty, but it's good hay if you make it right. All right, we made it to the field. Let's see if I can do this one handed here. Maybe. There we go. Then I just put that right on the hitch so we don't lose it. That over perfect. This hay almost passed the twist test. Should have brought a meter with me, but there's still some stem moisture. It's not bad, really, but it's there. If it goes today, it definitely needs a few more hours. We got a breeze, we got some sun. It's humid though. I mean, nice green leaves. You don't see that too often on clover. I can tell you right there, that's tough. There's some green in there, not in the sense of color, but it's just moisture. It's not terrible. We'll go check the alfalfa next. This is how much fun it is farming next to town. Look at all this crap. It's the first field on the north side of town, so it catches everybody's garbage. First cut that's this mature, that seems like a lot of leaf retention. It is a little tough, just a little. This spot especially, I can feel the moisture in it. But some of it's getting there. Need other spots like this. You can see that it's kind of coarse and stemmy, but the leaves are on the top. I don't know. It's tempting to want a small square bale this. Definitely needs to dry some more. Well, it feels dry. I don't know. Let's put some bales into a wagon and see what happens, I guess. I got a few test bales out. Stuff looks okay. Just looking at it, I think it's got to be, how? I don't know. There's some stem moisture there, but even with 10%, some stem moisture coming out, has a lot of place to go. There's 12, 11, 8. 11.8, it's 11.7. Let's go look at some bales on the wagon, I guess. It's kind of ugly looking, but let's see. All right, well, maybe we should bale. It's kind of weird because you can see, if you know what you're looking for, like, you can be like, oh yeah, that stuff was baled really mature. They got too ripe on them. You look at something like this, if we can focus in on that, like this. But then you get in there and you're like, well, actually, there's some really fine stemmed. There's a lot of leaf. It looks all right. Would I say it's pristine, perfect hay? I would not, but there's definitely some stem moisture in it, but it's not terrible. Well, neither the clover or the alfalfa was dry. The probe said one thing, then the battery died. It said, like what I showed you there was 10-12%, but it doesn't read stem moisture, and I can tell you for certain it had stem moisture. Man, so we're gonna check some fields, see if we want to rake tomorrow. I'm on the fence about this one here. I don't want to stay busy, but I also don't want to screw ourselves, so we'll go look at some of this and make a decision here, and maybe check it in the morning and see what we want to do. But I think this might need to wait one more day, so get raked on Tuesday instead of Monday. Wasn't sure how quick things would dry down. This humidity is probably the biggest killer. 80 to 95, 97% is what they're saying this week. This stuff is, it looks like a second cut, maybe even nicer. I mean, this stuff is just beautiful. I mean, it's very, very beautiful stuff. I'm very happy with it. Hopefully we can capture just a little bit of this quality in a bale. I think we'll have some nice regrowth here, but first we gotta get her baled. Man, I think we'll let her sit for another day. I wish you guys could smell what I'm smelling out here. I mean, just getting out of the truck, you immediately smell this alfalfa. It's so nice. Well, it's official. Nothing makes sense at all. This is thicker hay than almost any of it. I guess this is the thinner part. We'll see what the thicker parts of this field. Not tatted, granite, but it was mowed the same day as that thinner hay that we just looked at, the new seeding. And this stuff's dry enough we could probably be baling it right now. And I don't know if we try and bail out of the window. I'm not feeling like doing anything crazy and making mistakes here, so I'm gonna rake this tomorrow. I don't think we're gonna get around to baling none of this tomorrow. This field of the 3, it's definitely ready. I mean, look at that. You hear that? For how mature it is, it doesn't look bad, really. It's dry. This could have gone today. I don't know. You have this many acres and trying to run what you can, and you're spread out like we are. It just makes it difficult. And my wife being uptown all day at the market, 4-H tonight, lost her help to maybe go out and check stuff or put her in a tractor or do something. But had I known, I don't think anything really would have changed much, to be completely honest. This was mowed a day after the stuff I raked today was mowed. And we tried baling the stuff I raked today, and that didn't go. Here's a good example. You can see this is mature first cut. Get the leaves at the top, brown, gross looking, black spots on the stems. Not really big stemmed though. It's fairly fine stemmed. I think it'll be a pretty easy sell. But at least I know maybe we have this in our back pocket if we can get to it tomorrow. The big question is, can we small square bale 29 acres tomorrow and still have time to get to this field? And the answer to said question is a resounding no. No, there is not time for that. But I don't know. We'll see how getting help around goes. If we can get people to unload or anything. I feel like I need to kind of be involved on the small squares, but maybe if things really get rolling pretty good, I can send my wife out to finish that up, and I can hop in the big square baler and come to this field. You know, if I could get maybe away at 7 o'clock tomorrow night or 6:30 even, and start hauling a load of small squares home, bring a wagon home, and have my wife finish small square baling and have my dad hauling or something, maybe there's a chance. I would say if I could be leaving with the big square baler by 7 o'clock, I can come out here and get, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 acres baled, or do I just wait? There's a lot of a lot of ways to go about it. So it's luckily we don't have rain coming. It's just how much color do we want to retain. But you know, I guess I'd rather bale overly dry hay than wet hay. So if this goes a little longer, it is what it is. Let's check this corner field here, and check the other one and see what we want to do tomorrow. This is some pretty thick windrows, and that's a lot of rattle. It's a little tough. I mean, I wasn't thinking this would be even ready to rake today, and this could have been honestly raked today, but that's fine. We'll get it raked tomorrow with a little dew on. All right, guys, let's look at the difference of some of this. So we have a mature first cutting. That's what's out of this field. I think it looks pretty decent. The stems, you can see some of that disease, browning, yellowing coming in. Then we have, I know something that had some leaf hoppers, or sorry, weevil in it, but surprisingly had a lot of leaf. I would say, they look pretty similar. You have a little more green in the leaves. You can see some of these leaves got a little disease coming into them. Both of these two mature first cuttings look pretty similar. Now, there's this, also first cutting, but new seeding, very fine stemmed, lots of leaf. Discard that clover, that's not part of this. Absolutely beautiful. Not as dry though, that helps make it look a little nicer. Then we got in here this clover. Look at that, lots of leaf. It's a nice looking clover. I think that'll be good feed. So that's kind of the difference of 4 different hays we got down right now. Well, I'd say that new seeding definitely looks a lot like a second cut or third cut alfalfa. Alfalfa matures, flowers, it just gets to be very coarse, very stemmy, lower quality. The protein keeps dropping. Now, I'm not a dairy guy. Raised around dairy cattle a little bit, worked at dairy farms through high school and college, and I understand all that, but I'm selling to horse people. Rarely ever do I get asked if we have anything tested. And honestly, most of them are probably feeding some pretty hot hay, you know, in the sense of it's pretty rich, you know, some pretty rich feed to the horses that they don't need. A lot of these are pasture pets. Very few are getting worked, ridden, bred, whatever you want to call it, where they have an energy demand. Not to say I want to be baling, you know, stuff like this all the time. And this is still good hay, don't get me wrong. And this will be fine horse hay. This is probably what they need, to be completely honest. If you can look past some of the palatability issues, horse won't get sick on it, but they might sort some stems out. So that's kind of the big thing. Oh, the horse is sorting stems out. I need some second cut, better stuff to eat better. The horse is going to get fat on second cut, probably, you know. Maybe they don't feed full feed to second cut, and they have some other supplements they do to bring the energy levels down. I don't really know, but most horses don't need very, very rich straight alfalfa, but I sell a lot of it to horse people, and I'm not going to complain. Granted, a few of them that we sell to, especially the few that buy a lot, are either riding them, training them, breeding them. So I get that, you know, but there are equal amount that don't need that. But the nice thing about clover, you have a much wider range to get on that clover hay, it seems. It seems to stay vegetative a lot longer even as it seeds out. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, I've seen the guys that grow clover seed in the area, and when that goes to seed, it does get, it turns like black and all the leaves are off, you know. You imagine soybeans in the fall that you're going to be cutting for the beans, right? No leaves, it's just stems, pods. That's kind of what the clover is, but black, you know, real dark brown, black. But that's something that's been sitting there for a while, and I don't know if they use Roundup to hasten that maturing. But it seems like clover, some stems may seed out, but it continues to send new growth from the bottom, while alfalfa, it seems like the plant matures as a whole. You cut it, and then it restarts again. While clover, it seems like, at least in my experience, you might have several stems of that plant, that crown, that are seeding out. You have a lot more vegetation still growing in that lower canopy, so you still have a lot of green vegetative matter, leaves, finer stems in the mix. I mean, there is a point where you can push it too far. I don't want to have first cut clover coming off in August by any means. The last year we did some July clover, and granted the second cut we pulled off the field was nicer than first, and that's typical with alfalfa. As the further you go into cuttings, the finer stem you get, the more leaf you get, the better color you get. Weather depending, big thing on that. But that's traditional with alfalfa. I expected the same with clover. But is that because clover gets better with age, or is that just because the first cut was pretty mature when we got on it? Last year was the first week of July. We're about a week and a half earlier than last year, and I'm way later than I wanted to be this year, and I was certainly way later than I wanted to be last year. But similar things, just the rain wouldn't shut off. So, you know, you work with the confines of what the weather allows you to do. So, yeah, so that's a little bit of what we got here going. I do like making this clover hay when we have the markets for it, but I'd much rather do alfalfa, and certainly my favorite thing to do is grass. But I like the money alfalfa brings in, the tonnage it does, the regrowth. It's just the alfalfa puts on more tons than grass traditionally, at least in our area. But I think that's going to be it for this. I want to get some stuff prepped for unloading hay tomorrow, so maybe I could sneak out and try to get into here and do some baling. I don't know if we'll get that lucky, but I want to get the 29 acres baled tomorrow for sure. And like I said, there's just a little bit of stem moisture hanging on that was kind of setting us back. So hopefully that we can push through that tomorrow and get that all baled up. I know if it's just a one-man show, which I hope we'll have some help tomorrow, if it was just me baling and running everything and just having people haul wagons or this or that, there's no way I'm going to go from that to this because there won't be time for both. But we can try. So yeah, we'll wrap the video up here, but yeah, nothing really makes any sense at all that somehow hay that was mowed a day later, both, let's just compare apples to apples here. We have two fields of alfalfa, both mowed one day apart, and very different soil types. I don't think that should matter in this case, but very different soil types. I think that this isn't a very hard clay like the 9 acres is, but one day apart in mowing, both alfalfa, both mature stands, if you will. They're at least 3 years old. This is much older. This is maybe 6 or 8 years old or something like that. And the other one's 3 years old. But they're not new seeding, so they're mature stands coming out of winter, and both dry ground conditions, mowed one day apart. And this field's probably thicker than the other one. The other one got tedded same day it got mowed. So Friday I mowed and tedded the 9 acres of alfalfa, very mature field, dry ground. Saturday I mowed this field. As you can see, I did not ted it. Mature alfalfa, dry ground. This is dry. This honestly, if I had preservative and I wanted to push it, I could be putting this in bales right now. We got window, it's all right. We got time. It just might mean we hold off on mowing some second cut down and try to just take in what we have here and knock it out and get first cut wrapped up, which is fine. I mean, I wanted to get some second cut started, but you know, it's all right. But I just can't make any sense of this. This stuff is, they're mowed one day apart, and you would think that the thinner hay that was tedded would be dry a full day sooner, rather than the flip of that. I mean, I'd say they're probably very similar moistures right now. This might have a slight edge. I just can't make any sense of this. But I guess that's farming for you. I mean, every year I get into a situation like this. It's like, we're doing everything right. None of this makes any sense, what's going on, and we're kind of back in the same thing. It's like, and you always spend the time trying to pick apart what variables are different. Why is this different? Both fields were dry when I mowed them, not just ground conditions, but the hay itself. It wasn't like I went in right after a rain or a heavy dew on either of the fields. Both were dry standing crops with dry soil underneath. So I don't get it. And about 24 hours between mowing each. So I just wish everything was like in our backyard, like 2 miles away at most. So just hopping around between fields wasn't a big deal. But right now, the rake is home, so that's fine. We're about 12 miles, 14 miles from home. I don't have it exactly figured out, but call it 12 or 14 miles. The rake is at home, but this field from the other alfalfa field that we took the small square baler to, if I had to guess, we're probably pushing 20 or 25 miles between the two. And I wasn't planning to small square bale this. This was always in my book as a large square baling field for first cut. See how the quality is when we get to second. Not to say it's a bad quality hay, just because it's a little further from home. It's one of my furthest fields to the north. Well, it was when we started the hay season. Now I picked up another field, 44 acres, I think, further north and east of this, west of this. But yeah, so this was always in the book. Well, big square, because we can kind of knock it out quick. And then if we need the small squares, we might small square some second cut on it. But usually we can find enough acres closer to home for small square baling, because that's all going on kick racks, and it just takes longer. And that logistically, that distance gets to be very difficult when you're hauling everything on kick racks. We have 8 wagons. It gets hard. Even with 8 wagons and trying to have help and not knowing what's going on at home, and I'm in the baler, or maybe I shouldn't be in the baler, maybe I should be unloading the hay so I can be around for that. And then if something goes wrong with the baler and we're caught up on unloading, then it's like you're paying people to sit around. And my wife, she can run the baler, that's fine, and it's a good baler, but anything can happen. And to have her troubleshoot some problems or whatever, it's just, I feel like that's why I want to get to a mechanical place where I can just have my dad and wife hauling bales. I don't know what that looks like, whether it be an accumulator or a Baron. There's a lot of pros and cons to that, and that's a whole nother conversation. I can do a whole video on my thought process on those, and why we haven't gone to one yet, and maybe why I'm leaning one way or another, and I still haven't decided if that's even something we're going to do this winter, and if it is something we're doing this winter, which direction we go. If we can make that happen, if we can and if we want to, are two very different things, and they might coincide together, and they might disagree. Who knows? We might want it but not have the financial means to do it, or we might be able to afford it but not really feel like we can justify it, and would rather see that money work for us more in other ways, whether it be paying down debt or improve our hauling for the large squares and round bales. With only one truck and trailer right now, we're very limited in how much we can haul in a day. So looking at upgrading that might be one way to invest in the business. I don't know. But if small square bale markets stay as strong as they are, I think we have to look at mechanizing that sooner rather than later. I don't see mechanization improving the bottom line. It does not put more dollars in your pocket at the end of the year. It does not at all. I don't see it saving me any money. It increases my cost of production. It really does. Not a great deal. But the labor isn't crazy expensive, and we're still paying the kids pretty good. I think $15, $16 an hour. They're happy with it. I'm happy with it. And our costs are still probably going to be lower on a per bale basis than what it would be if we went to a grabber, an accumulator, or a bundler like a Baron or a Kuzin or a Bandit, I guess, if you will, which I'm not thinking of a Bandit. Nothing against them. It's just not my preference, that style of a bundler. But obviously the bundler adds cost in terms of depreciation on the bundler. Then you also have the strings tying around, so additional cost there. The accumulator, I guess, similar to the bundler. If you have a tie grabber, you'll have some string costs there. It's not a great deal, and I'm not saying that is more than labor, because it's not, but then you figure the additional fuel, and you still have time invested in running around and grabbing those bales with a loader and loading them on wagons or trailers and hauling them, where, the kick baler, the minute I get done filling that wagon, that entirety of hay, 120, 170 bales, depends on the wagon, right? It's on wheels and ready to go down the road. Or it's on wheels and ready to just go down the road and be pushed into a dry barn and be done. Doesn't need unloaded. And I know that's not much different than like a bundler or a grapple, right? Like you could load those wagons and back them loaded into a barn if, you're really pushing right up against the rain. But they don't take a great deal of time to unload, but I imagine at least 20 minutes of load. So if you have rain coming in 5 minutes, right, you can just push that wagon and be done. But it still takes time to drive around the field and pick up those accumulator piles, bundles, whatever you want to call them, or the actual bundles, bale bearing bundles. That still adds time and cost to everything. And then when you factor in the depreciation of that tool, I have a pretty good sized skid steer, but I don't think it can run more than maybe a 12 bale grapple. So that's going to limit you, because the grapples add a lot of weight, where if you go to a barren, you could still be able to move the 21 bale packs with my skid steer without an issue. I've done it. I've bought and resold some bundles. I like it. So I know I have the loader capacity to run barren bundles. We'd have to look at something different if we want to go to a 15 pack for the Coons accumulators. But, then you're looking at loaders, so you add more costs there and all this that needs to change. Either of the loader tractors could do it. I don't know if the 140 has third function. I know the 130 does. The skid steer is third function. But if I'm limited to only a 10 bale accumulator, geez, it's going to take forever to get bales out of the field. I don't think we really would gain anything efficiency-wise as far as getting bales out of the field compared to a bale kick baler, right? I really don't see that, and I could be wrong. Tell me in the comments if you're running a 10 bale accumulator. You can probably run more bales an hour than what I can. I certainly believe that, because you're not stopping to unhook wagons or anything like that and rehook. Not that it takes a great deal of time. 5 minutes later I'm hooked up and I can be doing 300 to 350 bales an hour with that baler. So we can really crank them out. It's the unloading side that gets to be our bottleneck, where if you do it mechanically, I see that advantage. But like I said, it's just something that's been floating around in my mind. There's a whole other ball of wax when you get into the bundlers, which is my preference, but it's whether haze can cure out in it, and then the cost of the machine and the maintenance, all that stuff adds into it too. But just the kick baling, how we're doing it with the manual labor, trying to make sure we can kind of not only deal with Mother Nature and how things dry down and progress and the quality of hay I want to put into small squares, right? Because the lower quality stuff I'd like to see in a big square round bale, and my small squares save for the premium hay. We're baling some mature stuff, so not a great example of that. But the getting away from the kick baler would change some of the logistics, because now then we'd only be worrying about the weather, rather than also trying to coordinate with people and their schedules. And granted, I'm going to bail what I got to bail in small squares and try to find a way and just call enough people until I can get a couple kids to help. But maybe eliminate that stress or that bottleneck. That's all I try to do, is keep every year we figure out 2 or 3 bottlenecks that we have, how much extra funds we have, and disperse that amongst those to try to resolve that. So last year we had a few bottlenecks. I thought we needed another loader, so we got another loader tractor. What else did we get last year? I'm drawing a blank right now. But yeah, we got a couple things last winter. I know the winter before we upgraded trucks, got a gooseneck, and some other stuff. So we'll see where this year goes. Just trying to get the first cut done. I'm excited for that to be finished and finally behind us. Be focusing in on a high quality second cut that that's when I think the page turns on the hay season and things look better. The equipment's kind of dialed in. You're predominantly, with the exception of pop-up showers, predominantly baling really high quality stuff most of the way from second cut onward. The yields are a lot lower, which, in one way isn't great for money, but the price per ton, price per bale is increased, the quality's better. Raking is just easier, because just doing the headlands when you have such thick hay and you're doing singles or this or that and trying to do that and not rake too much into a row and drive on as much hay, just when you're raking 4 rows together, whatever you want to call it, it's just so much easier to rake. You have more room to work when you're baling. It seems like the fields bale quicker. It takes the same amount of time to mow and rake and everything, but man, when you're baling, it's like, man, we're really knocking acres out. Seems like you get more acres done, and then you have more free time. But yeah, so excited for second cut to start. I don't mind doing straw. It's a flip of a coin. It's exciting until it's not, and you're burned out. You're like, let's just get this done and behind us. I don't feel that way too much. Once we get the second cut, it's not a lot of, I'm excited to get it done and see what we've got and have that rewarding feeling, but also, looking forward to that next field. That's always the thing, but it's not like it's just, let's just get it done, it's dragging on and burned out type of thing that first cut and straw can sometimes do. So, man, I really droned on there. Sorry about that. If you stuck around this long, thanks for watching, and if you have questions, drop them below. Or if you got an accumulator, whether it be 8 bale, 10 bale, 12, 15, or 18, or our Kuzin 14 bale bundler, the Bale Bandit, or Bale Baron, any one of those bundling systems, drop me maybe your experience with those and your thoughts, because I'm hoping to do 20,000 bale this year through the balers for our own, and we've already done some custom baling too, a few hundred bales of that. And I'm not saying we have a great market for custom baling. I'm not looking to get into that. I'd rather just bale my own, but that might be another thing to keep in the back of mind. But 20,000 bales is the goal for this year. If we can market it all, and if I can find a better way to do it with less labor, I wouldn't be opposed to continuing to grow the small square bale side and pull away more and more from round baling. I like round baling. I just don't like the price on them. I'd much rather make money, and small squares are definitely a way to do that. If you're in the hay market, you understand what I'm saying there. But local markets are all different. There's only so much your local market can bear. But we have some hay jockeys in the area I might be able to hook in with and move larger volumes. I just haven't before, because we've been able to move it all locally through my own customer base. And as that continues to grow, the demand for more small squares continues to grow. We have local customers for rounds and big squares too, of course, but the small squares are definitely where the money is. And yeah, just drop me your experience, what you guys thinking on small squares, and how you guys have been able to scale some of that. I'm not looking to go to a stack wagon. I don't want to deal with any of that, whether it be self-propelled or pull type. It's just, I don't think for my system and how far some of our fields are, I don't really see that being a benefit or a way to really increase throughput. So mainly looking at bundling systems is where I'd like to go, or maybe a grapple. So thanks for watching.